Hey, for this 8th grade example, we're going to pretend that students actually answered this question on a Google form for their do now. And now at this point, I close the form and I'm going to go over this problem with them. Okay, students, let's go over this problem. The vertices of a triangle are located at F, which is -4, -2, G, 2, 2, and H, 0, -4. A sequence of transformations to triangle FGH results in triangle F prime, G prime, H prime, as shown below. Which sequence of transformations to triangle FGH results in triangle F prime, G prime, H prime? So when I look at this problem, clearly it's mentioning sequence of transformations here and here, which means I need to figure out what happened to my original figure to get my new figure, my prime. And since it says sequence of transformations, that means 2 or more transformations had to have occurred. So when I look at the figure, the first thing I notice is they have the new figure plotted, and I know that because of the prime. What I want to do is take advantage of using this graph and plot my original vertices, my original figure. So F is -4, -2. G is 2, 2, and H is 0, -4. I like to write the X and Y's above it to remind myself how to plot properly. I start at the point of origin. I'm only going to explain this for F. And then, since X is -4, I'm going to go to -4. And then since I have Y is -2, I'm going to go down to -2. I'm going to plot this point, and I'm going to label it F, -4, -2. And here are your other points. This one I will explain because this is where we usually mess up. I'm starting at the point of origin. My X is 0, which means I cannot move left and I cannot move right. I'm at the point of origin, which is 0. And then I'm going to move down to -4 and plot my H right on the Y-axis. I'm now going to connect my points to create the figure. I'm now going to label my figure original and new. So now just by looking at these two figures, they're both triangles, but I'm going to look at the blue one first because that's my original, and I'm going to see or ask myself what transformation could have taken place that's obvious to me to get this new figure. And I see straight off the bat that my original figure shrunk. Now I'm going to take this time to go and look at the choices that I have. One of them, I know one of my transformations resulted in my figure shrinking, and the only transformation that does that would be dilation. So as I skim through all of the choices, I'm noticing that they have dilation by a certain scale factor. Dilation at the origin. So I have to figure out, well, which dilation is occurring, because I see 1/2 for 2 of the choices, and then I see 2 for the other 2 choices. I'm not even going to worry about the rotation yet because I can eliminate some choices. So for dilation, I know, or we are reminded, that the figure can get bigger or it can get smaller, or it can shrink all the way down to 0, nothing, or it can stay the same. So let's talk about those dilations real quick. If the scale factor of a dilation about the origin is 0, the figure will disappear. If it's a 1, the figure will stay the same. If it's a fraction less than 1, the figure will shrink. If it's a fraction greater than 1, where B is not 0, the figure will grow. So I already determined that it shrunk, which means my scale factor is a fraction that's less than 1. Looking at my choices, 2 is greater than 1, 2 is greater than 1. So I know that these 2 choices are out. Now I see that both of these are a scale factor of 1/2. Okay. So what you would do at this point is just choose one of your points to go from here. That means I'm going to label my points of my prime figure so that I can make sure I have these numbers visible to me. So F prime is -1, 2. G prime is 1, -1. And H prime is -2, 0. To continue this problem, I'm going to start with or show F. So F starts off as -4, -2. And I know that it's shrunk, and these are the only two choices here, so it had to shrink by a half. So as a reminder, I will multiply my X value and my Y value by 1/2. And we should remember that when you multiply by a half, it just cuts your number in half. Notice what I'm not doing. I'm not labeling this F prime. Why? Because it's a sequence, which means I must do something else to this point so that I can get F prime of -1, 2. So now let's go back to the choices. They are talking about a 90-degree clockwise rotation about the origin in choice A. And choice B is speaking about a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation about the origin. We did this in class, so I'll just remind you. The root words that you see in clockwise and counterclockwise is clock. So let's draw a little clock. You don't need to put all the numbers. Now, clockwise means we're going this way. Counterclockwise means we're going this way. And now I'm going to write X, Y above the clock. The reason I do that is to remember that if I'm going clockwise, I'm going to do something to my Y because it's on the side of clockwise. And if it says counterclockwise, I'm going to do something to my X because it's on this side. So here are the rules for a rotation of 90 degrees. So at this point, I'm going to write rotation of 90 degrees about the origin. The first thing you have to remember is you're turning a figure. So since you're turning that figure, think of this as if you turn these two values, it will switch place. We're going to switch the values. So -1 as your Y value now becomes your X value. And your X value of -2 now becomes your Y value. But we're not done yet. Now let's refer back to that clock and let's look at which direction we want to go. Suppose we said we wanted to go counterclockwise. Well, counterclockwise is this way, which means I said we're going to do something to that X. And what we're going to do to that X value, the new X value, is negate it, meaning multiply it by -1. Only the X value. And you would get 1, -2 as your F prime because you did both. You did the counterclockwise and you did the dilation. It doesn't matter the order. And this is what you will get. Now, when I look at what F prime is labeled here is -1, 2, that is not the same. So it did not go counterclockwise. So I'm going to cross this out immediately. That means it had to go clockwise. So let's see. I'm going to start from this point where it was -2, 1, and then we switched it. And we're switching because of the rotation. But now in this case, since I'm going clockwise, I'm going to do something to my Y value, which means I'm going to negate it, which means I'm going to multiply my Y value only by -1. And you will get -1, 2 as your prime, which is what's here. So that means it was clockwise. And a scale factor of I have. So my answer is choice A. Okay, kids, that was our review. I will give you another question similar to this for your exit ticket. So let's just jump right into our current lesson. Hey participants, again, I just want to reiterate, Why I decided to do this, to show you that this can be something that can be done at the beginning of a class before you start your current lesson, or given as an exit ticket and then creating a video for students to watch and self-check, self-analyze their work, and to share my thought process in developing these videos or preparing for live instruction when I'm going over the spiral review questions. So what did I do to prepare for reviewing this problem? Of course, like I did for the other ones, I did the problem. I thought about the different skills students would need to know, which is plotting points, naming points, labeling points, the vocabulary that they needed to know, clockwise rotation, counterclockwise rotation, a dilation of a certain scale factor, and then I know that I had to remind them of what will cause a figure to grow, shrink, disappear, or stay the same. And I also wanted to remind them, because this is where a lot of students get confused, is that when they see prime, that is your new figure, and I wanted to surface that it would be essential for them to plot the original figure so they can get a visual of what it looked like. So in this particular case, I used the multiple choices to kind of cross out what's not needed and to guide the rest of my thinking. I hope this was helpful.